Welcome. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat. As soon as we get people, I will get started. Welcome. Let me know if you can hear me. Welcome. Hi. Uh, Sigma Ritzler. Can you hear me? Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. We're about to get ready in a minute. Hi, Robert Martinez. Hello. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. Thank you for joining, all of you. Colony, Lily, Java. I'm grateful to have all of you. So we're going to go ahead and get started on how I cleanse people and how I cleanse people's feet once they've been poisoned, from people who have sent them negative energy to their feet to stop them from treading the ground. We're going to go through a process because, it is the same process that I go through when I go to certain people. What's up? So, the first thing that I like to do when people have been poisoned in their feet, and you will see all kinds of scales. You will see, and scales is the hard skin that just continues to flake up and is yellowish looking at the bottom of the feet and around the feet. That's scales. And anytime that you are witnessing something on your body or coming out of your bowels or anything that is yellow, then that's a clear indicator to a spiritual healer that something negative has been sent to you, or generational curses, or there is something unnatural going on with your body or your feet. So today we're talking about your feet, and we'll get to the bowels and things of that nature in another video. So what I like to do is use the Stop Evil. I use HighOracle Stop Evil salt first. And I like to give people a bath in that. I like to scrub the feet in that. I can do a foot wash in that to remove the negative energy, the poisoning from the feet, to return sender that negative energy. And sometimes the negative energy that has been sent to the person has become malignant and is long standing on the person. So, in that instance, if the person know who it is that has sent that negative energy, I can, use a brown paper pad, a brown paper, and that person's name or something that belongs to that person, and also the high oracle salt, and fold that up and put it in the person's shoe, and let them walk in those shoes with that person's name on it for a little while. And then we want to get rid of those shoes that you have been poisoned in. You want to get rid of those shoes. I asked for a new pair of shoes so that we can dress those shoes with silver, and with some herbs that I like to make and put in the shoes, in the sole of the shoes, so that this person can levitate over anything that's negative, that these people have thrown at them. These herbs that I like to use, you can reach out to me on my in my description below. You can reach out to me for those kinds of herbs that you will need. I'm not allowed, we have to go by, the spiritual. We have to go by what the spirit say. We can't, we aren't allowed to say everything. So, you can reach out to me for those herbs. But, I love to use the silver sprinkle. I use the silver sprinkle in a lot of places to get rid of negative energy. Sometimes what we got going on here. Well, I'm glad that you stopped by, Riza Muhammad. So, when we're cleansing ourselves from negative energy, you want to use different methods in order to cleanse yourself from that negative energy. So, what I like to do is use the surah from Sod, and that's number 38, 41 through 44. You want to read that over your holy baths. You want to read that over your foot washings when you're getting rid of this negative energy that someone has sent upon you, that you have been attacked with, especially if it's malignant and it has been long standing. So you can always use those. You can use the holy water from that and wash yourself with that surah. And that will be some surah water that you can wash yourself with. You can also use different kinds of salt. You can also pray over that salt, and make a holy water for yourself in order to remove that negative energy. You can use that kind of sprinkle every day, or you can use the herbs when you reach out to me. You can use herbs as well in order to kind of get rid of the poisoning. If someone has sent poisoning to your foot tracks, if someone has sent black magic, the evil eye, black matter, or anything of that nature to your feet, or to stop you from treading the ground, and that includes you getting married, getting money. That includes your children being hindered, in the spiritual realms, to attack you, spiritually. So you want to be able to release yourself from those negative energies. You want to be able to know what to do. And a lot of the things that I'm mentioning is right in your house, except for the certain herbs that I use in order to remove that kind of negative energy. You can just simply, I like to use a brown paper bag if that's the only thing that I have near me. If I have to write something down, or write that person's name down that has sent the negative energy to my client. I also like to use parchment paper. That's the one for me, is the parchment paper, to get rid of the negative energy that the person who is trying to hinder you in life. The person that has, thrown things at you or have tried to attack you spiritually. Just this past week, I had a person in in Tennessee last week, I think, in Tennessee, where the ex-wife had attacked the new wife and the husband. So, she was in their yard, and if you had seen that video of her, she was in their yard, just walking backwards, turning around in circles, cursing, and I'm glad that the Ring camera, caught all of this, and this person went all the way around their house, walking backwards, doing, malevolent things. So when people have, tried to poison you in this way, then there are ways that, there's right in your cabinet you can use in order to remove the negative energy off of you. You can also use bay leaves. You can use a bay leaf wash, with a little bit of salt in it, and add it to, your water. You can bathe your feet in that. You can soak your feet in that, and that will also remove the poisoning that someone has tried to send you to your money or to your love life. You always want to, purify your surroundings when you are removing negative energy, because you don't know if, you have, walked it into your house. You don't know if it has gotten on your hands when you touch those shoes, or whatever. So that's why I require that, give me those pair of shoes that someone has tried to do something to. And just like I said, in Tennessee last week, I had that client, and I had to, cleanse both her and her husband's feet and shoes. And I thought that this would be a good light for you to understand that there's a lot of things that you already have in your home that you can create to get rid of negative energy. One of the main things that I like to do is, use sea salt. Sea salt is a great way to get rid of negative energy. You can also wash your feet in it. You can use salt and vinegar in order to wash your feet and rid yourself of the negative energy. You can, use that as a bath to get rid of the negative energy that someone has tried to send you to poison your feet. So, we don't want to, let that kind of negative energy linger on us, because if that person has that kind of control, that kind of manipulation over, you, that means that they have taken your good energy and exchanged and swapped your good energy for their negative energy. They're in control of, all of the negative energy that is coming at you. They're sending that negative energy to you. So it must be clean. You cannot just let it stand on you. You cannot just let it, fester on you in your life, because ultimately it can go over into, your finances. It can go to your children. It can go and affect anything that you try to set out to do. You will be rejected. You'll be rejected in life. You will not be able to move forward in life. You'll have all kinds of health problems. I have one lady where she has been poisoned in her feet, and her ankle, her feet is about as big as your thigh. One foot is really, really big, like an elephant, and the other one is, medium sized big. And she drags that large foot that she has. So, we've been working on that. We've been working on that to remove the negative energy off of that leg. And she believes that a neighbor had tried to, do something to her, but she wasn't sure because her and the neighbor were friends. And now that, it has gotten to be where she can barely walk, she did reach out to me, and we were able to, get rid of a lot of the negative energy. And again, she knows the person who was doing the negative energy, the person who, was giving her the side eye, and she told me a couple of times she turned around and caught her giving her the side eye or the evil eye. So, these are some of the people that we want to, look out for in our lives, and that will do these kind of malevolent acts. You want to be able to use the Holy Bible if you're a Christian. For me, I use the Holy Quran to, make different kinds of holy water. Sometimes I make, Surah al-Baqarah water. Sometimes I make Surah al-Sad water. Different kinds of different waters, and I'll add some salt to that, some sea salt. Sometimes if the person has come to me and say that there have been attacks upon them, spiritual attacks, sometimes I will have them drink this water, the water that I pray over, or until I get there, I'll have them pray over that water, or wash their legs or their feet or whatever the affected area, you know. And in my case, that a week ago, this lady on camera, I had the client, pray Surah al-Baqarah, and even though she was a Christian, she prayed Surah al-Baqarah from her phone over this water and was able to wash the threshold of her door and get rid of that negative energy that this ex-wife had spread for her and her husband. So, these kinds of things that you have, it will work great for you in order to remove negative energy where people have set up on you to attack you, to stop your feet from treading the ground, to stop your money, to stop you, from progressing in love, to, just stop you from being overall peaceful in your own home. So I know that a lot of you have already gone through a lot of these things that I'm already saying. I'm just bringing, and shedding some new light onto the subject, because a lot of people have been using malignant energy, to get rid of these kinds of problems, and it doesn't go anywhere. You have to attack these kinds of negative energy, progressively, and you have to be positive. You have to pray. And many times with, the lady who, the client that I have, who has the large foot, and she's been dragging it, she had to, fast. She had to fast for, several days, in order to get rid of the negative energy. And ultimately, she had a bowel movement of nothing but yellow. Again, when anything is coming off of your flesh, anything is coming out of you, you have been malignantly, poisoned by something attacking you, by something black magic, witchcraft, anything that's negative like that can cause a yellowish tint to happen on your feet. It can happen in your bowels. And, when that negative energy is removed, more than 9 times out of 10, it will be yellowish in tint. So, we want to always be able to cleanse ourselves. You can also use the bay leaf water and the salt water to as a tea, to drink some of that after praying over it. It will get rid of that negative energy outside of you if your feet have just swollen up, and you have let it become malignant. You have to be able to attend when you see that something is going from the natural into the unnatural. You have to be able to attend to it. You have to be able to pray. I've had plenty of clients that say that once their feet have been poisoned, that their prayer life will suffer. They stop praying. They lose energy. They lose faith. They don't want to do anything. So these are some of the ways that I have to make sure, and that's why, I life coach people to make sure that their connection to God is always intact. you know Also, when a person has gotten, malignant energy and poisoning, and it's been set up on their body, if you have something that belongs to the person, if you know something, if you know the person that has done it, if you have anything, their name, a spoon, something that they ate off of, and you take a bath with that salt water, and that item that belongs to that person, it will return to sender. So, a lot of times this is what, you don't really need uh, uh a person that you need to run to unless it has gone into the unnatural. When you know who the person is, you can just do some of these remedies and wash that negative energy off of you. But once it becomes malignant, once it becomes, 2 and 3 years sitting up on you, sitting up inside your body, that they have tried to poison you, then you will need a spiritual healer, someone who is more, well versed in getting it off of you and getting it out of your body, and sending it back to the person if you know that person. So, sometimes people can do things unknowingly, and I don't think that was unknowingly the way that the ex-wife set up on, my clients. That was purposely done. But sometimes people can send the evil eye, to you because you're living better than them, because you're in uh, a low income, side of town, and you probably have more. You probably know how to save your money. You probably have, persons living with you that contribute, and people can give you the evil eye when you're doing better than them. They can unknowingly give you the evil eye if you look better than them. We have that understanding from Joseph, from the story of Joseph. You know, when Jacob was telling his sons, don't go all into the city at once. So, people can unknowingly, if they think that you're doing better, if they think that you look better than them, they can unknowingly give you the eye, and transfer black matter to you. They can transfer negative energy to you. So, I'm giving you some ways to guard against it, especially if you know the person, because many of the times when I'm going out to these different clients, they're telling me that sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, mother, all kind of people that's in their family, they're sending these negative energies. So, like I say, if you're not trying to harm the person, you're just going to send that negative energy back to them. Now, harming the person depends on what the black matter that they send out to you. If they send out to you to unalive you, and you send that negative energy back, then guess what's going to happen? Return to sender. They get what they send out. So, what I'm saying? So be very, aware of, when you're cleansing yourself, when you're cleansing your feet. Some of you out there may have the black matter sent to your life, so that you would be a slave to your family. That is manipulation. That is the same manipulation that Esau and Jacob went through. Destiny swap. That's also black matter. That's also poisoning that's sent to your life. That's sent to your lifestyle, where you will be a slave to the family. You will not be blessed in your walk. You will have minimal impact in your life. You will not get a destiny where, everything will be on your kids, smooth sailing in life. There will be blessings, and and loving, kind relationships. You will be able to move forward without problems. When you have become the Esau of your family, that is a kind of poisoning to your system. Is not only to your feet, but it's to your financial, it's to your lineage, it's to everything that is in your life, that you will need to be able to cleanse yourself from this negative energy. And if it is put on you the way that it is said in the biblical text, that God did not favor Esau, then no one can change that once that has gone forward. No one can change that. So, this is why I always, coach you guys to always keep that connection, with God. Always pray. Always, seek, the decision from God first. in your marriages, in your job, whatever you do. If someone is attacking you, go to God first, pray about it, because there's things in the biblical text that you can really pick up on and use to cleanse yourself as well. Go to God, and God will lead you to what you should do, who you should go and see. But when you start making decisions to go to see tarot readers, and you got a foot problem where someone has poisoned your foot, then that's a cross condition that you're creating, and we don't want to do that. So I hope that you guys can understand how to cleanse your feet in different ways. We cleanse our feet. You can reach out to me for the herbs that I use to cleanse my people. And like I say, I like to use the silver dust in the shoes to remove the negative energy, the poisoning. It goes with a lot of cleansing, because those shoes have to be changed out. You have to change out your socks over time, because it will get that yellowish tint, that yellowish hue to your socks. You want to remove those socks, remove them from the house, throw them away, whatever you want to do with them. If you want to burn those socks, you can do that. But you will have to have new socks, so that the silver dust can work in your shoes. A new pair of shoes after we are done, walking on that person has sent you the negative energy, that you have finished bathing with that person in that holy water, that surah al-sad water, that you finished bathing with that person's name in that water. There are ways to get rid of that negative energy, when someone has attacked you. And these are just some of the ways that I use. I have other progressive ways that I use when, this person has been set up on with generational curses, when a person has malignant energy attached, for years. So there are progressive methods that I can use in order to remove negative energy from people who have attacked the feet or tried to poison the person through their feet, and other methods of poisoning. And it will work great to cleanse you, from all kinds of negative energy. And again, I like to use High Oracle's Chase You Back Home water. That's my own black water, and it has different kinds of mints and camphor and different kinds of things in it to get rid of negative energy and cleanse the home, cleanse the feet, cleanse the walls. It's a wash to get rid of negative energy. Especially for cases like this, like we're talking about today. We have to become aware that everybody isn't our friend. And there have been certain eras in our lives that, our parents, or, our uncles and aunts, have been using malignant energy, have been using black magic, have been swapping destinies, and have been attacking us, either in general or as a whole, as an entire family. And I've had that problem in my family, where we have people who will attack the lesser ones, and that meant, and in that I mean, they will attack the ones who are mentally challenged. They will, what I'm saying, take their money, try to lock them away in the house where nobody see them, and destiny swap, and steal their energy in that nature. And when I came along, I condemned all of that, and we're breaking that negative energy. We're gonna come out into the light. This is not, the 1900s, where you have to hide people who are mentally challenged. And I would get on to people. So these are some of the things that we have to look at, why people will want to poison you when you tell them the truth, when they just don't like you, when you look better than them, when you have more money, your life is going better. People will try to attack you, and they will try to poison you. I hope that you guys have received this message. I hope that you've received some ways to cleanse yourself with the Holy Quran, with the Holy Bible verses. You can always, and Saad and Surah Saad talks about Job, and I'm sorry that I missed to talk about that. It talks about Job, and how God gave him uh the means to cleanse himself from the sores and all of the things that was going on with his health, and the water that God gave him to cleanse himself with. So you can also look that up in the Holy Bible, the story of Job, and read that over your water and use that to cleanse yourself and relieve yourself of the negative energy. I hope that this has helped you. You can reach out to me in the description below. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me for a one-on-one consultation. You can book a session. You can also request a topic. I left a link in my description below. I'm High Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum.